Congratulations, you just became the world's first trillionaire. Not a millionaire, not a billionaire, a trillionaire. You are now worth more than several Jeff Bezoses combined, which is apparently the official American unit of wealth. You could spend $1 million every day and still have money left thousands of years from now. But there is one condition. You must spend every dollar within the next 24 hours or you lose everything. Sounds easy, right? Buy a mansion, buy a yacht, buy a private jet, maybe finally upgrade from the Honda Civic with the check engine light that has been emotionally manipulating you since 2022. But the moment you start spending, you discover something strange. $1 trillion is almost impossible to spend, and somehow even harder to live with. First, you visit an exotic car dealership. You buy a Lamborghini, a Ferrari, and a McLaren. Then you realize buying 3 cars is financially equivalent to using a coupon at this level. So you buy the entire dealership. Still not enough. To spend the money within 24 hours, you would need to buy an entire luxury dealership almost every second. So you think bigger. You purchase 100 of the world's most expensive yachts. You buy a cruise ship, every NBA team, and enough concert tickets to make Ticketmaster briefly consider lowering its fees. You buy a Boeing 747 and rebuild it into a flying mansion. You buy an island. Then you commission a yacht with a helicopter pad, a submarine garage, a movie theater, and a full hospital. Because apparently normal yachts are for people who still check menu prices. After spending billions, you check your balance. You still have hundreds of billions left. Question: how can you spend money that is larger than the value of almost anything available for sale? Answer: you stop buying products and start trying to buy systems. You consider buying every vacant luxury apartment in New York. Then you realize even major real estate purchases barely move the number. You could spend hundreds of millions on one property, and it would feel like a normal person buying a decent jacket. So you begin planning artificial islands, enormous skyscrapers, private airports, and projects that sound like a city-building game played by someone who removed the budget setting. Then someone suggests buying a country. Small problem, countries are generally not listed on Facebook Marketplace. Money can influence governments, media, culture, and public opinion. But buying influence is not the same as controlling reality. You can own newspapers. You cannot force everyone to trust them. You can fund a political campaign. You cannot buy every voter's opinion. You can buy access to almost everything, but not every outcome. So you decide to stop buying toys and start fixing problems. You could erase enormous amounts of medical debt. You could fund food programs, schools, scientific research, clean energy projects, and ocean cleanup. For the first time, the $1 trillion begins to feel useful instead of ridiculous. But philanthropy has its own problems. Who receives the money? Who manages it? What happens when an industry realizes you are willing to pay any price? If you pay everyone's student loans, do universities lower tuition? Or do they simply notice that the richest person alive has entered the group chat? Question: can one person with unlimited money solve every major problem? No. Money can fund solutions, but it cannot automatically create good leadership, fair systems, trust, or competence. Eventually, the 24-hour challenge ends. But imagine the money stays. You are now the most famous person on Earth. There are photographers outside your home, strangers tracking your flights, and people analyzing what you ordered for lunch. So you hire security, then more security. Your normal apartment no longer feels safe. So you buy a private compound behind walls, gates, cameras, and enough guards to make the mail carrier reconsider the delivery. The property needs housekeepers, chefs, drivers, groundskeepers, technicians, managers, assistants, and assistants for the assistants. Before long, dozens of people work in your house. You wanted freedom. Instead, getting coffee now requires a security briefing, an armored vehicle, and 45 minutes of advance notice. When you finally enter the coffee shop, everyone stops talking. The coffee tastes exactly the same, but the experience is gone. Then your phone starts ringing. Lawyers, investors, politicians, charities, distant relatives, people you met once near a vending machine in college. Everyone needs a meeting. Everyone has an opportunity. Everyone remembers that technically you once said, "Let me know if you ever need anything." Then your friendships begin feeling different. Your funniest joke receives a standing ovation. Nobody disagrees with you anymore. At first, this feels great. Then you realize agreement without honesty is just loneliness wearing a suit. Question: how would you know whether someone likes you or simply likes being near $1 trillion? You would not. Then the lawsuits arrive. An old business partner claims you owe him money. A stranger claims you promised her $10 million at an event you never attended. Most cases are nonsense. They still cost 6 figures to fight. When you have the deepest pockets on Earth, the legal system begins treating you like an unlimited ATM. You settle some cases because writing a check is cheaper than spending months defending yourself publicly. Every settlement creates headlines. Every headline attracts 5 more people holding folders. Someone from your past sells an embarrassing story. A waiter photographs you at dinner. A member of your household staff leaks information from inside your home. You have the best lawyers, security experts, and public relations teams money can buy. None of them can put private information back inside the box after the internet opens it. The person you were before the money slowly becomes public property. One night, you return to your compound after a week in Italy. You pass the pool you have used 3 times, the tennis court you have never touched, the wine cellar containing bottles worth more than many people's monthly rent. 60 people work here. You are the only one who lives here. At 3 in the morning, you walk through a theater with 60 empty seats. You pass a library nobody uses. A security camera follows you through the hallway. You step outside and look at the stars. They are the same stars you looked at when you were broke. The sky did not change. Everything underneath it did. So, would becoming a trillionaire make your life better? Financially, obviously. You would never worry about rent, groceries, medical bills, retirement, or whether adding guacamole is financially responsible. But extreme wealth does not simply remove problems. It replaces them with problems ordinary money cannot solve. You could buy almost any object. You could fund ideas that reshape humanity. But you could not buy an ordinary coffee without becoming the most interesting thing in the room. You could own a house with 100 rooms, but still have nobody you completely trust enough to invite inside. And that might be the real price of becoming the richest person alive. Now answer honestly. Would you accept $1 trillion if it meant never knowing who genuinely loved you again? Comment your answer below, subscribe to Wealth Files, and remember, money can buy freedom, but enough money can also build a very expensive cage.